Hey everybody, it's Zach, the Treasure Troll, back for another weekly confessional. If you're new to the channel, like I said, my name's Zach, aka the Treasure Troll, and this channel is about me being more responsible and accountable for my reselling business. I'm trying to ramp up my sales. I want to make this a success. I don't want to have to go back to a day job. Before we get into the numbers, just talk about the week. I thrifted 4 out of the 5 days this week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Found some really great things. That'll be on Wednesday's video. You'll see that stuff. I am getting ready to do some Dibdit shows next week. I already have a show scheduled on Tuesday for Vintage Rolling Stones magazines, and then I'll have a clothing show coming up on that following Thursday. So I'll increase the numbers and change the numbers a little bit for next week's confessional. Speaking of, let's talk about the live selling thing for a minute. I love live selling. It's fun. It's exciting. It's a way to move some inventory quickly. But right now, for me, it's not a huge moneymaker. It's really hard, whether you're on Whatnot or Dibdit or whatever live selling platform, to make a whole bunch of money on it unless you have either a social media following or you pay your dues with the platform and do lots of shows and grind out and build a following of buyers. And it's hard to do that unless you have really good product that you're willing to let go for possibly pennies on the dollar to build that following. If you're just looking to clear, your excess death pile, Dibdit's great. There's a bunch of other resellers there. They'll buy it from you. You're not gonna, like I said, you're not gonna get top dollar. You might get $2-3 an item, but it gets it out of your house. It gets it out of your death pile. And it allows you to free up room and make a little money to go out and get better stuff, which is what I did with my death pile and with Dibdit. So like I said, it's not a bad option if you have the ability to source really good items cheaply so that you can build that following. Because once you get that following, then you'll start to get half of eBay price, 3/4 eBay price, sometimes over eBay price, depending on your followers and how much, how bad they want your item. So it's something I'm going to keep playing with. I'm going to keep exploring. I have a bunch of clothes that I'm going to blow out on Dibdit. I do have the ability to source clothes fairly cheaply around here. There's a lot of thrift stores that do $5 bag sales where you fill either a grocery bag or even a 13-gallon trash bag for $5. You can fit a lot of clothes in a 13-gallon trash bag for $5 and then sell them for $2, $3 a piece, and you're making money. So I'm going to keep playing with that. I'll let you guys know how that goes, but let's get into the numbers for this week. I know that's kind of what I'm here for. That's what these Sunday confessionals are about, really. Like I said, I managed to do really well this week. I thrifted 4 days. I listed everything as soon as I got home. Like, I would go out in the morning, thrift. As soon as I got home, boom, listed on eBay, and it's really helped my sales increase a little bit. Did I make a whole bunch more money than last week? No, actually, I made about, well, we'll see. I made about $5 less than I did last week, but let's break it down. The first thing I sold was this Department 56. I sold a Blackstone griddle cover. I sold a Harley Davidson 100-year anniversary shirt. I sold a Kitchen Craft skillet. These skillets are really nice. I almost kept it for myself, but I got a pretty good price for it, as you can see. I sold a Snap-on coat. It would have sold for more, but it was missing the pull string. It had like a little ring replacement, so I took an offer on it. I sold this Harry the Dirty Dog book. The reason this went for so much is because it was an original first edition, first printing, I believe 1956 of this book. So That's why it went for so much. I sold this Planet of the Apes mug. I actually bought 2 of those. This was the better of the condition of the 2. It sold first. I sold this DVD set. It's called Home Movies. It's some sort of cartoon. I don't know. I looked it up and it was worth money, so I grabbed it. I did sell the Rich Dad game. You saw that in the last thrifting video. It sold for full asking price. I sold this Caitlin from Thomas the Train. I sold a Weller soldering iron. I sold this lot of Marvel Spidey Friends. I sold this HP toner cartridge, brand new. And then I sold 2 boxes of vintage Roush Christmas glass ornaments. Even though Christmas is over, Christmas sells year round, guys. So that gives me a grand total payout of $475.76 before shipping, taxes, or any of that stuff. So shipping for all of this stuff was $110.68, which took my payout down to $365.08. After I take on my 30% taxes of $110 and my $60 seed money, that leaves my in-pocket take-home, after all said and done, at $195. Now, I said last week that my payout was $205, so I'm $10 less than I was last week. But I did the numbers, and at Nebraska's minimum wage, which is $15 an hour currently, for a 80-hour work 2-week pay period, taking the same amount of taxes out, I would have made $840 at a day job making minimum wage. So between last week and this week, that's $400 or $400. So, I'm making less than half of minimum wage. Not so good. But I do believe that as long as I keep pushing it and I keep working hard, I can get up to that $840, $1,000 every 2 weeks. And if I get to that point, then that's great. That's perfect. That's where I need to be. Most people are like, oh, you don't want to live off of minimum wage. Well, I don't. But like I said, my house is paid for. My car is paid for. As long as I got enough to keep the lights on, keep everybody fed, and hopefully start putting a little bit away for the rainy day fund, I'm going to be happy. I don't need the big fancy car, the big fancy house. I'm making enough to, between everything to pay my bills. Part of that is, and I forgot to mention this last week, I have an amazing roommate who, he pays half the bills. Sometimes he pays a little more than half the bills because he believes in me and he believes in this dream I have. He's my best friend. He's awesome. He helps me out all the time. He cleans stuff for me. When I get stuff that needs to be refurbished, he does that. He's great doing pocket knives, things like that. Actually, he's currently working on, I got it right here, this vintage BB gun. He's refinishing it. He hand sanded all that down. He's going to restain it. He's going to re-blue everything. So when he's done, that thing will look brand spanking new, and I'll get a premium for it. And he doesn't ask for anything. I don't pay him for it. He just enjoys doing that kind of stuff and helping me out. But yeah, so kind of a short video this week, guys. Less than 10 minutes, but nothing huge happened. I had, like I said, some pretty decent sales for the week. I found some really great things at the thrift store that I think are going to help bump my numbers up. I'm not asking an arm and a leg for these items that are coming in. I'm going middle of the road on my pricing because I want it out the door, Make that fast nickel versus a slow dime. I need to get stuff moving. I need to get money in so I can source better items. And then I can start making more money. That's the name of the game, right? You buy stuff and you sell it. You buy decent, okay items to make money, and then you turn around and you reinvest that and you buy better items, it's just kind of a gradual upward swing. And so that's what I'm working on. And that's what happened this week. All right, you guys don't want to listen to me babble for another 5 minutes about nothing. This is the update, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to, come check out the show on Dibdit on Tuesday. That's DIBDIT.com. Name is Treasure Troll, and like I said, I'm selling vintage Rolling Stones magazines on Tuesday, and then I'm selling clothing on Thursday. And I got some really good stuff for my Thursday clothing show too. I've got like Rock Revival jeans. I've got vintage Olympics jackets, things like that. I mean, I'm trying to bring some fire this Thursday. So, yep, we will see you next Sunday, and check out the video on Wednesday to see what I got this last week, and talk to you later.